I want you to be able to live your dreams. So, in doing that, we bring in these guests and special friends of the program, as I like to call them. So today I'm excited to bring in somebody that we're going to not only have on to talk to you a little bit and encourage and motivate and inspire you, but we're also going to create a program together that we're going to have released here real soon that you'll all be able to take part in and learn more about what you need to do to chase your dreams and how to develop a plan and use your own playbook to get to that dream. So I'm going to welcome in Dontell Jefferson. He's going to come on and talk to you and discuss a little bit about how he was able to not only chase but achieve his dream of playing in the NBA. He's written a book about it where he tells you kind of the trials and tribulations that he went through, how his hard work and networking and abilities to keep striving to get through those difficult times led him to the highest stage in basketball. So from playing at the University of Arkansas, playing in a junior college system, making his way all the way to the NBA, and now here on Playbook Expert, let's welcome in Dontell Jefferson.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, especially now. It's always one of those things when you worry whether or not the technology is going to connect. So let's jump right in. What was your inspiration for writing the book, How to Make It to the NBA?
Well, my inspiration came from I wanted to do basketball camps just for the youth, and I wanted to take them down to my hometown of Cordele, Georgia, where I was born. And I would always compare how my camp may look to my best friend and how his camp would look. And I just felt like it would look nothing like his. And that was kind of, the wrong mindset. So I think it was a time in my career where I had got cut from Sioux Falls and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I ended up just getting the idea of writing a book and just telling my story. And that's how the idea came about. And then, 6 years later, I became, the best-selling author.
That's incredible. So was it one of your goals to be an author, or was this something that you created as that post-career goal now that you've already achieved one high level?
Actually, it wasn't a goal at all. And I talk about this in my book, I had goals written down in high school from my stepfather. And those were all related to basketball and getting the education. Even after that time period, it wasn't a goal of mine. It's just kind of something that came to mind. And then I actually just wrote it down and, made an outline of it. And I had a best friend that had actually written a book in 2015. And he brought the idea up again. And I told him I had an outline for it. And we went to work on it.
Nice. So you said you wrote down your goals when you were in high school and they were all basketball related. And obviously we know the story is not one that you had a direct path to the NBA. Right. So what inspired you and kept you driven and motivated to get to the NBA?
I think just, interesting enough, and I talk about it in my book, and without giving too much away, I ended up having an agent or getting an agent later on in my fifth year of school. And we just kind of had a conversation, and he kept telling me that I was an NBA player. At that time, I wanted to just go overseas and make money. And I, trusted in him and what he believed in me. And that's what kind of got the ball rolling, I started believing in myself, like, well, maybe I am an NBA player. And 3 years later, from the D League going overseas, I was able to actually achieve that dream.
So what do you attribute to having the work ethic and being able to stick with it? Because obviously you did go through playing in Europe, playing in the D League, all those other opportunities. What kept you motivated?
I think just having the will to fight. Me growing up with my uncles, different cousins, my mother. I always been the kid that wanted to just keep going no matter what. My uncles always instilled in me, never give up on anything. And if it don't work out, try again the next day. And I think just that attitude that was instilled in me from from a kid, it kind of just carried over. And the more I, continued to play basketball and get to junior college, I just kept going and kept going. And, I had other people in a supporting cast that kind of helped me along the process. And I think just that alone, that foundation just kept me going and going and going.
So describe for me the feeling, and I've always wanted to feel this myself, not necessarily in the NBA because I was a football guy always growing up, but what's that feeling when you put on that NBA uniform for the first time, walk out of the locker room as a Charlotte Bobcat?
It was, it's weird because I wasn't nervous. I put the jersey on and I sat down and it was just like I'm supposed to be here. Like I wasn't overwhelmed with emotions when I put the jersey on because I had been there a few weeks already practicing and things like that. But checking in, it just felt like another day for whatever reason. Like when I got the call, now that was very emotional and things like that, and I was super excited. But just having a jersey on and things like that, it was like this is where I'm supposed to be at. And I think that's the kind of attitude I had. And even in my exit meeting, Michael Jordan, he kind of said the same thing. He's like, no, I didn't get to scout you or anything, but just watching you the first game, he said you look as if you knew you belonged. He was like, I didn't sense any nervousness or anything like that from you. So it kind of validated how I was feeling, when I first checked in. So I think my experience of going to junior college, everything I went through at Arkansas, playing in the D-League overseas, like I was already, humbled enough to when I got it that I just appreciated the moment that I was in.
Nice. So not only did you make it to the NBA, but you're playing for the Charlotte Bobcats with the legendary, we can argue whether he's the greatest of all time or LeBron. You and I have never had that conversation, so I'm not going to start a fight right now. But not only playing in the NBA, but playing with one of the, if not the best player in the history of the NBA, that had to be something that not only motivated you to say, hey, I actually made it and lived my dream, but then to tell others about it.
Yeah, and people, they often ask me, did I get a chance to meet him and talk to him? And I actually, before I even played my first game, I sat next to him on the end of the bench at every home game. So, just having, being in that presence alone and just hearing how he talks about the game was, experience in itself. And then having that meeting just kind of, like I said, validated everything that I had been feeling and thought about, while I was there. And to hear him give me the praises that he did, it was just a blessing that, I was able to give him that impression, as I was playing.
So Playbook Expert, when we originally created this concept, was working with those retired athletes and working with those guys that had the opportunity to use their name, use their brand, and move on to life after pro sports and help them grow. Eventually, the platform has come to the point now to where we're also helping to motivate kids in schools and also just general business people who are looking to go to that next level, because we found that with sports, we have that opportunity to teach lessons, tell the stories, and kind of motivate and inspire people. Right. What have you done as far as speaking with the schools out there and your programming that you've been doing there?
So I have a program called, I have a few of them. One is called What is Your NBA? And it's 5 ways to block negativity, cross over adversity, and shoot your shot at your dreams. And within that program, I talk about having a championship mindset, visualizing your goals, and then attacking fear. And, I just use my experiences to kind of drive those messages home where, you're going to face adversities. We're in this time where a lot of kids transfer and things like that when things don't go their way. But, the true test of life is everything is not going to always go your way. And you have to have a plan to where you're able to take on that challenge and also get over the hurdle. And unfortunately, some things don't work out how you want them to. So you have to accept it, learn from it, and then keep moving.
That's great. So one of the things that you and I have been talking about is taking your book and combining it with my message over here at Playbook Expert as well, offering the book to folks and then creating a course built around it. So we'll be able to combine both of our different personalities and views and experience. Obviously, I never made it to the NFL, but I've been able to go through the minor league ranks in the front office, work in various leagues, have been part of starting 5 different franchises along the way. So we've got some stories that I think that we could share. I always tell people, I talk about your work, your attitude, the network, and then the team that you have surrounding you. Mm-hmm. Outside of those factors, what things have you had, or maybe that's covers all of them, but what things have you had that you feel like have helped you be successful?
I think the biggest thing is my leadership. And I don't know if I talk about that enough in my programs, but I think it's the leadership aspect of it. And one thing that, we're learning from this COVID-19 thing is adaptability. And being able to adapt to, adverse situations, different situations that you go through is, how you come out of it. I actually got a phone call from a high school teammate the other day, and he kind of re-instilled in me that, my leadership in high school is what helped him, want to work hard and be better. And this particular guy had only started playing basketball in 9th grade. It ended up going to a prep school and getting a Division I scholarship at Chicago State. So, just that story alone, and, I guess my drive and my will to win and how I went about my everyday daily routines and practice and things like that, instilled in someone else at 16 and 17 years old. I think that's, a huge thing that, a lot of people can take from that.
I think that's powerful. And that's why we've been able to get along so well, because of that drive and ambition to help bring others along and not just rest on what you've been able to accomplish, but help motivate and drive other people to follow in your footsteps and do the same thing. So, well, we're going to wrap up this segment because we just wanted to give people a little bit of the taste and the story of who Dontell Jefferson was and why you're part of the new Playbook Expert team here and the program that we're going to be putting out there. So we are going to be creating an offer that you guys are going to be seeing here in the very near future. In fact, there's probably a link below this video right now that'll take you to where you'll be able to get Dontell's book. And as part of that, we'll also offer you the opportunity to join in on a course where you'll have Dontell and I lead you through some of the curriculum and some of the lessons, both that are taught in his book, but then also just that we've been able to see going through our professional careers and lives that will not just help motivate those of you that are trying to play sports and go to the next level in sports. And Dontell, I'll let you say how you feel on this too as well. But what I've seen in the business world and other people, they need that motivation and inspiration. Sports is something that we keep score. So it's very easy for us to say, hey, Dontell played in the NBA. He was with the Charlotte Bobcats, sat next to the bench with Michael Jordan. We know that's a success. In business, sometimes it's not quite as easy, but we can tell the stories and inspire from what we've been to. I don't know, Dontell, have you seen that with some of the business folks you come in contact with as well?
Absolutely correct. Like even with, the students and the administration that I come in contact with, I let it be known up front that, I play basketball, but everybody's level of success or, their MBA, as I call it, is different. So for you, your MBA right now is, being a GM of a minor league team. Right. Some other people's MBA is being a doctor or, owning their own barbershop, but things like that. So your success or your MBA is what you make of it. We just use our experiences through sports, things like that to drive the message home. Anybody, any aspect of life, no matter how old you are, can take from this.
There you go. So everybody join in, comment below, like, follow, share, all of those good things we have to say on social media now. I didn't realize I was going to be doing that at some point, but Tell all your friends to check it out. You're going to hear from Dontell Jefferson. You're going to hear more from myself. We want everybody to come back, take a look at the Playbook Expert, figure out what it is that you want in your life, follow your dreams. As Dontell says, identify what your NBA is, and then come with us and let us help motivate and inspire you to get there. Thanks for checking out Playbook Expert. We'll see you next time.